Today we'll be talking about a new attribute, one of the qualities of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And before we talk about that attribute, I'll give you a story. This is a true story that happened in the US many years ago. And the person in the story, he was a new Nazi, a white supremacist guy in the US. You see them now in the news all the time. They protest against immigrants and refugees and stuff. They walk around with a beard and they have a shotgun. They stand in front of masajid and they are protesting because they are afraid that refugees are going to come and immigrants and they take their jobs. So here, for example, we have John. He dropped out of grade 5. He's walking around with a beard and he doesn't have an education. He can hardly read and write because he dropped out of grade 5. And he's protesting and he's afraid that Muhammad Khan, who is coming from Pakistan and he has a degree in rocket science, is going to steal his job. Are you following? Okay. So this is the kind of guy. He was a white supremacist. He hated Asians and he hated Africans, especially Africans, because he's a white supremacist. Remember, he's a new Nazi. So one time he was very abusive and he had a fight with his mother, and it was not the first time. So one thing led to another. He pushed his mother and she fell down. She hit her head against the wall and he had to leave the house because if he waited, the police would come and they would arrest him. So he thought while he was leaving the house, if I go to my best friend's house, they will come and they will arrest me. The last thing they will think that I'll be there or at this place is the library. They have a public library in that town or that city in the US. So he said, if I go to the library, no one will ever think that I'm here, right? So he went there, he got inside the library and he was sitting there and he noticed something. Everyone in the library, all the young men and women, they were reading. And he was sitting there like a zombie, not reading anything. So he said, this is attracting attention to myself, I have to read something. He pulled a book, a random book from the shelf, and he started to read, and it turned out it was the Quran. He started to read, he read the beginning of Fatiha, Surah Baqarah. Eventually Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him hidayah, and he became Muslim. And in this true story, he accepted Islam, alhamdulillah. He became very good to his mother. And the good ending of the story is, he married a sister from West Africa. So remember at the beginning of the story, he hated Africans, he hated blacks. He ended up marrying a sister from Africa. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala changed his life completely. So the quality of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for today is Al-Hadi, the guide. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is the one who gives hidayah. Sometimes you see someone, they have a good heart, no hidayah. Like in many, according to many narrations, Abu Talib, for example, he was very good to the Prophet ﷺ, always protective. But according to most narrations, he didn't accept Islam. You see someone like Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu, some of the people at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, they said Umar will never accept Islam until his dad's donkey takes shahada. That bad it was. Next thing, he took shahada. So hidayah is in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not how a person looks or how they behave. The hearts are in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is able to change all hearts. فالله سبحانه وتعالى يقول في سورة الأنعام فمن يريد الله أن يهديه يشرح صدره للإسلام. If Allah wants to give you hidayah, He will open your heart to accept Islam. But if He doesn't want you to accept Islam, He will make your chest very restricted, and it is very difficult. It is like you are taken to the heights. You can't breathe, which means uptight. So your heart is closed and you don't accept Islam. So hidayah is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah is giving us a proof in the Quran. You see, for example, someone like the wife of Lut alayhi salam, she was living in the best house with the Prophet, Lut alayhi salam. And she became kafir and she died as kafir. And another woman, she lived in the house of the worst man, one of the worst people of all time, Fir'aun. And she became Muslim. And the Prophet ﷺ, she said she is one of the best women in Jannah, right? So hidayah is not from the prophets, it is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you see another example. Ismail alayhi salam fi Surah Saffat. His dad told him, I saw the dream, I want to sacrifice you. Let's go. So he's giving up his life. So his dad is telling him, I saw the dream, I want to sacrifice you. What did he say? He said, Jaldi, Jaldi, let's do it. Get the limb, let's go, let's do it. And Nuh alayhi salam in Surah Hud, he saw his son struggling with the waves in the flood, and he said, let me save your life. The opposite of the story of Ismail. His dad said, let me sacrifice you. He said, let's go. Hidayah from Allah. And you see in the story of Nuh and his son, he said, okay, let me save your life. He said, no, thank you. The mountain will save me. I will die. You see? So Hidayah is coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who gives Hidayah to the people, not us. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you, He will open your heart. And we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that many of us here were born into Islam. Because I see stories when people read about Islam and they are not happy with whatever religious beliefs they have, they look into different religions. Islam is always at the bottom of the list, most likely because of what they see in the media about terrorism, about, and so on and so forth. So Islam is the last option they have. But if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to open their heart, they accept Islam, and there are so many challenges that face them. Once you are on the Sirat al-Mustaqim, and we keep making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala 5 times every day in our salah, Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim. Keep us on the Sirat al-Mustaqim. Staying there is also a challenge. It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who keeps you in the Sirat al-Mustaqim. And the Prophet ﷺ says in the authentic hadith al-Qudsi, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you, and He puts you in the Sirat al-Mustaqim, He كنت سمعه الذي يسمع به وبصره الذي يبصر به. I will become your eyes with which you see. I will become your ears with which you hear. In other words, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will become your guide, and He will guide you to the best in this life and in the next. And the last thing that I'll talk about, Hidayah in Akhirah. إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات يهديهم ربهم بإيمانهم قالوا في الجنة يهديهم إلى قصورهم. In Jannah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will guide you to your palace in Jannah, so you will go. You don't have a GPS, you don't have an address, you will go straight to your place in Jannah as if you have known this place forever. Surah Muhammad, وَيُدْخِلُهُمُ الْجَنَّةَ عَرَّفَهَا لَهُمْ. He will take them to Jannah, having made it known to them their places in Jannah. This is the Hidayah in Akhirah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us among those who will go to Jannah. So the question for last night is still unanswered. No one has been able to send the correct answer. So I'll give the question again. If you're able, we'll give you double the reward. In the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, لَيْسَ عَلَيْكَ هُدَاهُمْ إِنَّكَ لَا تَهْدِي مَنْ أَحْبَبْتَ. Hidayah is not in your hands. However, at the end of Surah Shura, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِنَّكَ لَتَهْدِي إِلَى صِرَاطٍ مُسْتَقِيمٍ. You, Muhammad, you give Hidayah to the Sirat al-Mustaqim. So how do you explain this? Is he a guide or no guide? If you know the answer, email me before tomorrow Asr at Mustafa at Anatolia Center.ca. Jazakallah khair. The answer is very easy, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.